afternoon, everyone. Welcome. It's a gorgeous day today, isn't it? And what a day to have our first celebration. I want to welcome all of you to the inaugural celebration and recognition of degrees and certificates of the Community College of the District of Columbia. We are so very happy to have all of you here with us today. So let's get started, and please remain standing and join in the singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we've hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glow, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Jackson Caesar, thank you so much for that. You may all be seated. I ask at this time that all cell phones and any other electronic devices you have are turned off or put on vibrate. So we'll give you a few seconds to do that right now. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Jonathan Rivera, Chief Executive Officer of the Community College of the District of Columbia, who will give us the official welcome. Dr. Rivera?
Good afternoon. I just want to do a couple of things real quickly. And first, to all the mothers in the audience, very happy Mother's Day to you. And as the parent of two college graduates, I know how proud you are of your sons and daughters, and if you're a parent yourself who's graduating, this is an even more special occasion for you. This is a historic occasion, and I hope that each person in the audience today recognizes both the symbolism and the significance of today. The university is changing, and I'd like to recognize and congratulate our faculty, first of all, because I don't think that there has been another group of faculty in history who have had to attend two graduations celebration all in the same day. You know, they should be given a hand just for being able to make it up on the metro from here. Community colleges have been around for well over 100 years. The California legislature enacted in 1907 legislation enabling secondary schools to add 2 years of post-secondary ed to the existing secondary high school curriculum. And in their book about community colleges, Cohen and Brower report that Senator Anthony Caminetti introduced the legislation, and that 20 years earlier he had been responsible for the act authorizing the establishment of high schools as upward extension of grammar schools. And so this is sort of where, somewhat officially, at least in California, the community college movement began. While community colleges were started and have continued to flourish around the country, and I dare say around the world, Washington, D.C. flirted with the idea, but for many years did not have a community college. Today, community colleges are really the talk of the town, the talk of the country, the talk of the world, and they're being given much more attention than they ever have. It is truly also historic that in this year, with a president like President Obama, who is unlike any other that this nation has seen, and who has pushed community colleges to the forefront, it is during his tenure that our nation's capital now has a community college. But despite all of the accolades that President Obama continues to receive for putting community colleges first, there is another person, a person who I'd like to introduce to you today, a president who is responsible for the launch of this community college. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Alan Sessoms, President of the University System of the District of Columbia.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure seeing so many of you here on such a spectacular Saturday afternoon. In particular, I'd like to really thank the faculty for doing things that nobody thought could be done in a time so short that some folks don't believe you've done it already, which is really kind of impressive. We decided not much more than a year and a half ago to really do what people in the District of Columbia have been talking about for well over 30 years. We would establish a community college. And we just didn't ask for more money. We didn't ask for new facilities. We just decided to do it. And the reason we were successful is because of the faculty. They decided they would do it with us. That's an extraordinary statement. We have people who are committed to the education of young people and not so young people in the District of Columbia. We have people who really understand how to develop a curriculum and make it work. We have people who've been doing this business unsung for, in many cases, 30 years. But now we're singing their praises because they're doing things that really do matter to this nation and certainly to this city. So it is really a delight for me to really celebrate in some significant way the first academic year of the Community College of the District of Columbia. We've been talking about it since it started. It's measured up to everything that we have said. The students have been exceptional. Some of them really above and beyond the call of duty, contributing to bringing the community together to celebrate this institution. I thank you for coming. It's really it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And one of the things you'll discover when people, especially politicians, during this political season, talk about the University District of Columbia, they'll mention the community college first. Because it's that important to them and that important to this district. Thank you very much for coming. Have a good time.
Thank you, Dr. Sessoms, and thank you, Dr. Jackson. Today is indeed a wonderful day, and I get the opportunity to represent the Board of Trustees here at the institution, the University of the District of Columbia. And so I get a couple minutes to talk about the occasion. And I think all of us know what the occasion is, and that is to celebrate the class of 2010. So let's give them a round of applause. Today's occasion is all about you being very confident that you've got the knowledge and the tools that you need to go out that door and be successful. The occasion today is about you understanding that there are thousands of graduates from the University of the District of Columbia who you can rely on when you're in need. The occasion today is about you understanding that this is your opportunity to give back, to share with the world, to share with your communities the knowledge that you all have gained as a result of this great faculty and staff who have dedicated hours, days of their time to ensure that you're ready for the world. So again, congratulations to the class of 2010. Go out there and do your jobs. We expect nothing less, and always know that the University of the District of Columbia will always be here for you. Thank you.
I want to take this opportunity to introduce to you the remaining platform guests, and I ask that they stand when they hear their name called. First, we'll start with the community college officials. Ms. Julie Johnson, Deputy Director of the Community College and Chair of the Inaugural Celebration Recognition Committee. Thanks, Julie, for your work helping us with this. Next, Dr. Pearl Peters, Dean of Student Achievement. Ms. Connie Spinner, Associate Dean of Workforce Development and Lifelong Learning. We have a fan club. Dr. Melanie Anderson, Dean of New Program Development and Compliance. Ms. Susie Cato, Chair and Director of Nursing Certificate Programs. And Professor Robert Dean, Program Director of Mortuary Science. Next, I'd like to introduce the University District of Columbia officials who are with us this afternoon. First, Ms. Barbara Jumper, Associate Vice President for Facilities Management and Real Estate. And Mr. Hakeem Pham, Director of Information Technology. And last, I'd like to introduce to you the Faculty Marshal, Professor Lawrence Covington from English. This afternoon, we want to take time to do special recognitions. I and the college faculty and staff want to acknowledge the significant contributions and dedication of those who are lifelong educators and who were instrumental in helping our graduates achieve their dreams today. But first, I want to recognize our faculty members once again, particularly because they have worked very hard this academic year. As Dr. Guevara stated, they're probably the only faculty that had to go to two commencement and celebrations in one day. And they've also been very dedicated in their work to the community college, most especially to the students. So I ask that they stand and be recognized. Faculty? Thank you. I believe teaching is more than a noble profession. It's really a vocation, and for many of us, it's a calling. It was once said, and I quote, "A teacher affects eternity. He or she can never tell where their influence stops." And another quote sums up the commitment and dedication of teachers, and I quote, "To learn and never be filled is wisdom. To teach and never be weary is love." Truly love for teaching exemplifies the work of 3 retiring faculty members of the Community College of the District of Columbia. I now ask that Professors Benita Bott and Susan Lockwood, who are with us this afternoon, please come to the stage. Professor Bott and Lockwood, both of you have dedicated years of teaching and service to both the University of the District of Columbia and the new Community College of the District of Columbia. First, Dr. Bott. I met you right after I got here, and we had a very long conversation, and I want to thank you for that. We talked about a lot of things in terms of how we can make this community college work, and I appreciate your wisdom from the years that you've had as a faculty member, but also as an administrator. so I want to thank you publicly. You often told me as well how much you love working with and teaching students composition and literature. You mentioned that being with students brought you great joy, and I believe it did and it still does. Over these many years, you dedicated yourself to not just teaching, but you wrote over 40 articles in various publications. You wrote numerous papers and conducted professional presentations. You did 18 years of producing and hosting a radio program of popular Indian music. I didn't know that. And at one time, you were selected to India's national women's field hockey team. I know there's some stories behind that one. But in essence, your contributions are rich and wide, and they have truly touched the lives of our students, including the graduates we have with us today. I want to thank you for all you have done for the community college and for the University of the District of Columbia. And now, Professor Lockwood. I remember so vividly the day I met you. I met you with Professor L. Gloria Harrison, and you both came in and talked with me about the respiratory therapy program, for which you've served as the program director for a number of years. And I got to know you over these last few months, particularly as we served together on various committees. But more importantly, I saw firsthand your dedication to the respiratory therapy program and to its students. And this was truly exemplified when I met on Tuesday evening one of your former students, who is now a medical doctor. And he's serving as a clinical site supervisor for our respiratory therapy students. But I saw how much he respects you, and I heard fond memories he still has of being your student. That really says a lot. What a tribute to you as a teacher and lifelong educator to have an impact on his and other students' lives. You too are to be commended for all you have done for the community college and the University of the District of Columbia for these many years. Both of you will be greatly missed by your colleagues, by your students. I'm sure everybody will still stay in touch with you. And so I hope that even though you have officially retired from teaching at the community college, your vocation as a lifelong educator will continue in new and exciting ways. And I believe you both will do just that. So, in recognition of your contributions, we have established an award in your honor. The Maneris Award, which is Latin for service, will be given annually to a faculty member of the Community College of the District of Columbia who exemplifies the great dedication and commitment to teaching and learning that the two of you have shown these many years. What I want to do now is give you a little something that's a symbol for our thanks for all you've done for our students, and know that this annual award will serve as a symbol for other faculty members who strive to exemplify the same. We have a third recipient, Professor Gloria Green Ridley of the nursing program, who could not be with us today, but I will read what is on the plaques that we have given them. The Maneris Award presented to Susan Lockwood, Panita Bott, and Gloria Green Ridley for distinguished recognition of your contributions, devotion, and commitment to service and excellence, May 8th, 2010. Thank you. Thank you. Excuse us while we take pictures. Thank you. Yes, please give them another round of applause. They have really given very much of themselves to education. Next, we will have a special recognition of one of our students, Ms. Kimberly Kenny, and I ask that Professor Dean of the Mortuary Science Program please come to the podium.
Dr. Guevara, Dr. Sessoms, Mr. Trueheart, Dr. Jackson, Chairman Askew, platform guest, distinguished students, fellow colleagues, students and friends, good afternoon. My name is Robert Dean, Program Director of the Mortuary Science, and let me back up, Dr. Sessoms and Dr. Guevara, of the distinguished Mortuary Science Program here at the Community College, here at the University of the District of Columbia. And today we're here on a glorious occasion to celebrate the accomplishments of one of our students that couldn't be with us to share with us this afternoon. You have to excuse me sometimes because I get very emotional about my students. At this time, I would like to call the family of Ms. Kimberly Kinney to join me here on stage, if you'll please come and join me, as well as my fellow colleague and founder of our distinguished program, Mr. Leander Coles, if you'll please join me here on stage. I want to give you all the accolades that are due. Kim. Mr. Coles, thank you for joining us. Dr. Guevara, Dr. Jackson, Dr. Sessoms, I would like to present on behalf of Ms. Kimberly Kinney, her family, Ms. Kinney Johnson, her mother, and Ms. Sabrina Kinney, her sister, and I would like to present to you their representation and present to her, Kimberly, since she couldn't be with us this afternoon, we would like to go ahead and present to her her degree, her Associate of Science degree from the Department of Mortuary Science here at the Community College of the District of Columbia. Also, I would like to present to Ms. Sabrina Kinney, her sister, Kim's sister, and Ms. Mary Johnson, Kinney Johnson, her mother, the pen that is normally given to all graduates of our distinguished program. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dean. Now we have a musical selection from one of our students, B. Jackson Caesar, who will sing You Raise Me Up, written by Brendan Graham and Rolf Loveland.
raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. There is no life without its hunger. Each restless heart beats so imperfectly. That's when you come and fill my world with wonder. I search no more, you supply my every need. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You rise me up, I can stand on mountains. You rise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I'm on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be. Thank you.
Beautiful voice, beautiful rendition. Let's give him a hand again. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker this afternoon. And on the back of your program, if you have one, there are a lot of really wonderful things written about a man who is sitting up here on the front row, and you can identify him very easily. He's the only one wearing the red. And Dr. William Trueheart is the former president and chief executive officer of the Pittsburgh Foundation, one of the oldest and largest community foundations in the country. Before joining the Pittsburgh Foundation, he served as president and chief executive officer of Reading is Fundamental, America's oldest and largest children and family literacy organization right here in Washington, D.C. In fact, his wife, Carol, is a native Washingtonian, and the Truehearts still have very strong and deep roots in the city. Prior to doing all of this, he was the president of Bryant University, formerly Bryant College, and was the first African American to be a college president of a major institution in New England. He served in a variety of capacities, far too many for me to mention at this point, but I will say that in the short time I've known Dr. Trueheart, and he's a very modest person, so he would probably be embarrassed if I went through his entire biography, but I have found him to be a true friend to education, a true friend to the average person, and somebody who really understands the common good and the value of education. And we were very fortunate to have him agree to give this talk for us here this afternoon, particularly because the work that we're about at the university and at the community college is really at the heart of the work that Dr. Trueheart has been involved with over his entire lifetime. And it is very much at the center of the work that he has recently taken on at Achieving the Dream. So without further delay, I'd like to present Dr. William Trueheart.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rivera. And I want to thank all of you graduates. I want to thank you for embodying the dream that inspires my own work. This dream is shared by your college's president, faculty, and administrators. And it has been realized today because you and they have invested deeply in your future. The certificates and degrees you now hold are the first big return on your investment, and I assure you, it won't be the last. I'm so grateful to be a part of your celebration because I know it's a powerfully historic day for CCDC, UDC, and for Washington, D.C. You are a part of CCDC's first successful academic year, and the great city that this college serves needs all of your talents and skills. Washington is a major job center, but it is also a place of distressing unemployment. That's why the success of your college is so vital to this region. And that is why, in his convocation speech last September, that I didn't hear but I read, Dr. Guevara gave the city a wake-up call. I loved his comments. He said, and I'm sure I'm not going to say them as well as he, but he said, "Washington, can you hear me? I have news for you. We have us a community college, and it's your community college." I'm sure that the city heard him. After all, as you know, Dr. Guevara has a way of getting your full attention. But even his energies and ambitions aren't enough to convince Washington that CCDC is a wonderful gift to this city. That will happen after each of you goes from this campus out into the larger community and delivers on your promise of the promise of your education. I'm completely confident that you will do that because the college has offered you the essential tools for success. From day one, Dr. Rivera pledged to make this community college a place where everyone finds opportunity and where failure is not an option. And now you know he meant every word. That shouldn't come as a surprise to any of you if you know anything about Dr. Rivera's past. He defied all kinds of odds to succeed, having grown up in a small dairy farm in Trinidad and Tobago. And he managed to pass a very competitive national exam to become the first in his family to attend high school. And that achievement was followed by many, many great achievements. I can relate to that uphill climb, and I've been asked to share some of my background with you. So please bear with me because there are a few important messages that I want to convey. Dr. Guevara told you a lot about what's on my resume. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's not typically put on resumes. I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut. It's a city with plenty of wealthy residents, but my family was not among them. We lived in the projects, and later in a renovated garage that for several years didn't have indoor plumbing. My parents were both domestics, and I worked with them all through elementary school, middle school, high school, tending to wealthy folks' yards and cleaning their houses. My father never finished third grade, and it wasn't until I was in college that I realized that he could not read or write very well. My mother completed high school, but she didn't go to college. Actually, I never knew anyone in the projects who had any connection to college or who had been to college. So what took me from that background to where I am today, standing before you at this podium? Two things: opportunity and lots of people who provided very strong support. First, my family, and always my family. And in later years, from teachers, family, teachers, faculty, administrators, and even fellow students, all of whom really cared and wanted me to succeed. And I'm sure that your families, many of whom I see here today, and CCDC provided the same for you. I went on to earn my bachelor's degree and then advanced degrees in public administration and education. And as you heard, I headed up several institutions. And now I'm president of Achieving the Dream, which is an organization I'm going to tell you a lot about today. But it's a national initiative that is committed to invest in improving student success at community colleges. Through Achieving the Dream, more than 20 foundations and state agencies have invested over $125 million to help selected community colleges throughout the United States. And I'm delighted today to let you in on some good news that you'll read about next week. Your college has already been selected to become an Achieving the Dream college. That's a major accomplishment, and I congratulate you, the students and faculty and the administration, for your vision and outstanding commitment to student excellence. Back to just a little bit more about me, you can imagine how unreal it sometimes seems to me, the kid who grew up in the projects. Seems unreal that I'm heading an organization with such vast reach and great potential to help millions of students earn credentials that will be valued in their communities and in the marketplace. But please understand that I tell you what I've told you, and I've shared what I've shared with you about my background, not to brag or to get pats on the back. Instead, I wanted you to understand clearly why no one in this world can ever convince me that success is beyond the reach of any of you here today. I also know that when I tell you about the challenging road that I traveled or that Dr. Guevara traveled, that I'm preaching to the choir. For many of you, I know a huge part of your achievement has been about overcoming obstacles. Many of you took classes while you were holding down at least one job and or taking care of families. Many of you have also had to overcome self-doubts about your ability to succeed in this or other things. But your great achievement, one that can never be taken away from you, is that you stuck to your goals and you achieved them. I mentioned that I was going to talk a bit about Achieving the Dream, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the organization, and I hope that you'll find it interesting. With my wife's blessing and loving support, I'm devoted to the mission of Achieving the Dream, which is to help participating colleges adapt and adopt smart and innovative practices that clear the paths to success for their students. We're all about finding out what works best to support students in the colleges, in the community colleges. Show us the data, whether it's about students who are insufficiently prepared for college, or the ones who drop out and don't earn a degree, or the ones who have the tools to continue their studies at higher levels, but somehow don't. We want to know. We want to know what the causes are. We want to know how we can change the patterns and what kinds of support will make student success increasingly possible. You know, every time I hear Dr. Rivera talk about educational reforms, I'm convinced that he secretly wrote the mission statement for the Achieving the Dream. We both believe in evidence-based practices. He's always talking about, let's see the results, let's go with what works. Sometimes the new initiatives that we both support are expensive for a college to implement, which is why Achieving the Dream helps provide funding for them. Sometimes a new approach threatens a lot of entrenched practices and philosophies, which is one of the reasons that Achieving the Dream sends experienced coaches to colleges to work with administrative and faculty leaders to share knowledge of effective practices inside and outside the classroom. And we're getting real traction with Achieving the Dream, and good things are happening. Achieving the Dream now has been around for just under 6 years, but we already have a network of more than 100 institutions in 22 states serving 1 million students. In 3 years, we should be serving somewhere in the order of 165 institutions in about 35 states, serving over 2 million students. All of these efforts, though, that we've been involved in only have meaning if they resonate with the leaders who can make things happen. And they can become very strong rungs on your ladders of success, but only if your colleges have faith in your ability to climb higher and higher. It's a privilege for me to share the stage today with educators who believe in all of you as much as Dr. Rivera and his CCDC team do. In your behalf, they embrace the real meaning of opportunity and success. They realize that there are community colleges out there that define opportunity as merely giving students an opportunity to enroll. They have seen how other colleges measure their own success by how many warm bodies they bring in the door. And they know that what's missing from the equation of those colleges are the only things that really matter in the end: a great education and a valued credential. To Dr. Rivera and CCDC, a great education and a valued credential are the main mission of this institution. And enrollment is simply the open door to opportunity, while success means completing your course of study and leaving college equipped with new knowledge, new skills, and a new certificate or diploma. CCDC gets it. This college gets that the critical challenge is to help every student do what you have done: persist and complete your studies. You know better than anyone how the school nurtures success in so many ways. Yes, there's developmental education coursework for those who need it, but more than that, the college tests high school students and gets help early to those who need it. Yes, CCDC teaches classes that will help you get jobs, but more than that, the college works with advisors from local industries to direct you to where the jobs really are and then help you land them. Yes, the college has staff to assist you with questions and concerns, but more than that, CCDC ensures that the people who help you when you're applying and enrolling are the same ones who serve as your academic advisors and counselors right through to graduation. In these ways and many more, CCDC is a community college that takes the first part of its name very seriously. All of you students have taken part and have been part of a very rare community, a community that provided support and opportunity that didn't end with your letter of admission, but rather expanded through your time here. You all got great expert advice and guidance and constant encouragement from this institution. Yet we all know that doesn't fully account for your success in reaching this true milestone in your life. The fact is, no one could do for you what you've done for yourself. No one else could attend your classes, tackle your homework, write your papers, take your tests. And no innovative reforms, no matter how much I preach about them, could ensure that you would be here today. You've reached this milestone because you were given opportunities and you seized them. This is a day to congratulate you and to celebrate all of you. Now, as you leave this college, realize that your graduation is not just proof of your accomplishments, but it is powerful evidence that you have competitive knowledge and competitive skills. Right now, you're standing in front of a new door, and it's wide open with opportunities on the other side that you can't even imagine. So do just what you did here at CDCC. Walk through that door, seize those opportunities, show the world that nothing, absolutely nothing, will ever keep you from success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Trueheart, for your very inspiring words for the fulfillment of hopes and dreams of our graduates, and most importantly for our new community college. And we are thrilled that we're going to be a part of the Achieving the Dream initiative. It's really going to help broaden our capacity to really enrich the district and its residents, and so we're very happy for that news. So, celebrating our achievements. That's why we're here today on this glorious day, a bit windy. But to our graduates, we are so very proud of you and your accomplishments. The fulfillment of your hopes and dreams have only just begun. And today you are surrounded by those who love you and support you, your family and your friends. I'm going to ask parents, aunts and uncles, cousins, children, and friends to please stand, because you are part of the community college family. We want to recognize you. Please stand. Don't be shy. And graduates, you see your backbone, you see your support. They have seen you when you've been riding high in terms of getting great grades and really enjoying yourself in class, and they've seen your lows when you didn't do so well or you're really frustrated by something, but look where you are today, and that's what's really fantastic. And now I'm going to ask that the first class of the Community College District of Columbia, those who have achieved an Associate of Arts, Associate of Science, and Associate of Applied Science, to please stand and be recognized. For those of you who are with us today, please stand. Ladies and gentlemen, these students, and as well as our other graduates, represent degrees in almost 20 professional fields. And this week I had the privilege to attend 4 pinning ceremonies in the nursing and allied health programs this week. And it was just really wonderful to be in those intimate settings and to talk with our graduates and their families and others who came out to support them. So again, to the graduates, I say we are really very proud of you. We have high expectations in terms of your goals and where you're going to go in life. And most importantly, we know that you will give back to the community and continue to help build a very vibrant Washington, D.C. community. This is your day to celebrate. So congratulations again. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Connie Spinner, Associate Dean for Workforce Development and Lifelong Learning, and Ms. Susie Cato, Chair and Director of Nursing Certificate Programs, who will recognize our students who have completed the National Certificated Programs.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, we're here, aren't we? And it's good to be here. I have the unique pleasure of recognizing those students who will be receiving national certification. And I want to say a word about how important this day is, because we are democratizing what we do at our community college. We've determined that it is equally as important to acknowledge that you have excellence in the skills that you earn as it is to acknowledge that you have academic achievement. They are not dissimilar. And in fact, if we are truly as good as we want to be, we will create seamless pathways that will take you beyond the skills that you've mastered and into the world of academics that will give you the ultimate associate and bachelor's and even further. So I'm especially pleased to ask the students who would have received national certification to please stand and be acknowledged. I am going to turn the mic over at this point to Dr. Susie Cato, who will explain a very special award recognition that we are giving to nursing students this afternoon.
Good afternoon. To Dr. Sessom, to Dr. Guevara, Dr. Truhard, and to the other distinguished members on the platform, it is indeed a pleasure to be here and to recognize our hardworking students or graduates that have finished from the home health aid classes, nursing assistance classes, and the practical nursing classes. Those of you that are in the audience, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. You may be seated. I must say one other thing. On Monday night, for some of you know, this week started Nurses Week. So we've been celebrating nurses all week. And on Monday night, it gave me great pleasure and proudness to be at Howard University. Of the 100 nurses that were recognized, almost 20 of them were graduates of this university. I cannot say they were graduates of community college because they had already graduated before community college came about. But it makes us proud. And for those of you that are in the audience now, those of you that have received the certificate, you have made a start to service mankind. And we want you to do it well. One other thing is that we, the community college, as well as some other partners in the city, 8 partners, have formed the Capital Health Career Partnership. And what does that mean to you? Whatever level of nursing you are, you can receive a scholarship to go further to the next level. We have received This is from the Department of Labor grant, and I made sure that I had clearance from the other partners to announce this here, that the Department of Labor grant is $4.9 million. $1.5 million was set aside for training. And as of Friday night, I have received 54 inquiries about the scholarships. If you did not submit an inquiry form, see me or call that famous number you know, 274-6950, and we will provide the information. There is no excuse if you listen to what Dr. Trueheart was just saying. So please, please do that. It is also my pleasure to introduce to you the person that we know on the Board of Nursing in the District of Columbia as Missy Moore. Missy Moore has been a lifelong member of the board. She's young, but she's a powerful member of the Board of Nursing. Not only that, for those of you that are LPNs or LPNs to be once you pass the licensure, Missy is the national president, not the local. She is the national president for the National Federation of Licensed Practical Nurses in this country. She speaks out for nursing care all over. Missy, would you come forward, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Ms. Cato calls me Missy, but my name is Artemisia Moore. So you can see why she calls me Missy. I am here on two behalves. The first is as a board member of the District of Columbia Board of Nursing. I came to celebrate the practical nurses today, the students. I'm so excited for you and to see the products of a board-approved practical nursing program, all you do. I'm so excited for you today. The other is to recognize the students in the practical nursing program. I'm going to quote someone today. I won't be long because I know you want to celebrate. My favorite poet, her name is Dr. Maya Angelou. And Dr. Maya Angelou said, if you aren't being used, then you're useless. I'm so happy that, that I've learned how to be used. And part of that is mentoring nurses all over the country. I have 50 that I mentor at the time. And as the president of the National Federation of Licensed Practical Nurses, it was interesting for me because it wasn't a lot going on. But I decided that I wanted to make a difference in the nursing community so that we could be stronger, so that practical nurses could be stronger. And part of that was mentoring to you. So I decided that I would come up with a recognition program for practical nursing students. I would celebrate the top 10 students, and any school that contacted me, I would come out and give the certificate to the students. Well, the first school was in Florida. That was a few months ago, and the students were so excited. I had never seen the gleam in anyone's eyes except my own when I accepted my first recognition. But even though the school didn't call me here, the college didn't call me, I decided to come recognize the students here because if I'm going to mentor anywhere, I need to start in my own backyard. Having said that, I need someone to help me come make the announcements so I can make the presentations. While I'm waiting, is someone coming up to help me? I found a way of supporting practical nurses with this recognition program, and it's 1.7 million practical nurses in the country, and probably more to come. So it's important that you be strong, that you be smart, that you mentor other people. Your turn is coming. This is my 26 years as a practical nurse, and my time came up very quickly that I had to mentor people like you. You can look for me online, you can email me, you can call me if you need me, because I'm here to support you. That's part of what I'm supposed to do. So having said that, someone is going to make the announcements. I'm going to stand nice and pose for the picture to give the awards out.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Juliet Maribata. I'll be calling out the names of the students that are the top 10 students at the practical nursing program. The first person is Geraldine Frew. Please come up. Next person is Mafo Diop. Sadat Lawal. Chinyere Obioha. Niba Regina Sama Afanwe. Ngozi Onwemel. Patience Okorazu. Ajide Mba. Ikeria Nwachukwu. And Michael Ndokoba. Those are the top 10 students.
Can we have another round of applause for all of our graduates? And now we'll have a panel selection by Rico Huff.
Before I make these last few remarks, let me thank everyone who has had something to do with putting this event together. And I'm not going to go through the list of names. We've been through enough award ceremonies as it is. However, I do hope that we all remember the significance of today and what this means for each of the individuals who have been recognized here today. I'm not even sure what day of the week it is, having had some nights, and Dr. Sessoms and others who are up here as well have been through similar nights where we've gone to 3 and 4 events, not remembering which one we went to last. But this is all because we're so deeply committed to the success of our students. And in celebration, when we leave here today, before we leave, there will be refreshments, so please do remain and enjoy. Take some time to share the moment with the faculty, staff, and others who are here, as well as with your fellow students and colleagues. For each of our degree and certificate recipients, and for those of you who completed a short-term program, I know how difficult it has been for you. For some, the challenges are far too many to list in my closing remarks to you. Let me take a moment to share with you the lyrics, and I have modified them, so if they don't sound like the original, I've modified them. These lyrics have been sung by Miss Whitney Houston, and she did them for the 1988 Olympics. And she's someone who's had some difficulty in her life for many years, but found her way again, and she is beginning to put her life together. And I think that many of us can easily understand where she's been. And her life can be a role model for many of us through some of life's challenges, and it goes like this. And again, you're not going to get the whole song, and oh, by the way, I'm not going to sing either. But in that original song, one of the verses, it goes like this: each day I live, I want to be a day to give the best of me. I'm only one, but not alone. My finest day is yet unknown. We all know that you broke your heart for every gain. To taste the sweet, you faced the tough professors and life challenges. You rose, you fell, and yet through it all, still much remains to be accomplished. For some of you, and I know you were thinking that this day would not come soon enough, or that it may never come, and here you are. You've got one moment in time when you are more than you probably thought you could be, when all of your dreams are just a heartbeat away, and the answers are all up to you. To you, our inaugural class, you are winners for a lifetime, but you've got to seize it. That one moment in time, make it shine. This ends the formal part of today's celebration of the community college. Thank you.